hip-hop astrology. Tells you the truth about everything you need to know about. If you want to know the truth about something, it's hip-hop astrology.
Okay, what's happening, everybody? This is Noble Anpu, the Urban Guru, man, live with you from hiphopastrology.com. And I want to build on this Prince situation because, it's something that's important. And if you follow our work, then you know at the end of our videos, we put Prince on the end of our videos right here at Hip Hop Astrology, all right? And there's a purpose for that. So let me get straight into it, man. The death of Prince, you see rainbow appear over his house and studio. This was a divine sign showing you that Prince had reached the highest level of spiritual realization, to be honest with you, all right? If you go and look at this particular slide, you will see that there's something called the rainbow body that is practiced in Tibetan Buddhism, which is the highest level of cultivation that a person can get. Basically, at the time of their death, their body disintegrates. In some cases, it totally disappears, and a light is accompanied by a rainbow light. This is the fact. This is why you see their own symbol with the rainbow around it. All right, this is a fact. This is the highest level of spiritual attainment one can get. Throwing your body into dirt or cremating it, your body disintegrates and shrinks. Some cases it shrinks, and it can go back to the size of a baby or a little child. But the masters, they can totally make the body disappear, all right, and it will be accompanied by a rainbow light. This is a phenomenon. So when you see Prince, a rainbow over his house, then, hey, that shows you that he has attained the ancient teachings of the rainbow body, okay? So make no mistake about that. This ain't about no conspiracy and occulting. You have to understand God consciousness, and that's what I want to get into. In this conversation, you have to develop divine perception, divine understanding, so you can come into a state of God consciousness. And it's really simple to do. It's not hard. If you truly believe in an all-intelligent being that's there, that's conscious, all-wise, all-knowing, the author of everything, the one who condones everything to happen, and it's God's will, then you have to see it as if you are God and you're just a witness for God. And if you can truly be a Jehovah's Witness, which Prince was and is, if you truly can be a witness of God's divine play, no matter how dramatic it gets and traumatic it gets, then you can come into a state of God realization because there's nothing but God in the world. All right? And this is how you can really test yourself if you really believe. All right? So anyway, moving on, when you're dealing with the rainbow, you're dealing with the visible spectrum of light in which we live in. And it'll tell you the human eye is not capable of seeing radiation with wavelengths outside of the visible spectrum. You can't even see ultraviolet lights. Some infrareds you can't see. You can only see the visible light spectrum. The visible colors from shortest to longest wavelength, which basically means the highest, fastest frequency down to the lowest, slower frequency. Violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. There is no indigo. All right, that was something that was made up by Isaac Newton and put in there for sake of spiritual philosophy, infatuated with the number 7. So it's really only 6 colors in the rainbow. You have violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Now, violet is another color for purple. Hence, we're talking about Prince. The rainbow appeared over his house. We all know him for the infamous purple rain, okay? So he's showing you purple rain is purple rainbow. He's showing you he was representing the highest frequency in our visible spectrum of reality. Now, when you look at Prince, Prince is someone who challenges your sexual perception, your sexual orientation even. Because you would say, well, he looked like a gay person, or what you would call a faggot, and he looks like a woman, and his hair has perm, and he wears high heels. And Minister Jew said, man, you got to tell him what L.A. Reid said. L.A. Reid said, listen, he had the masculinity of Teddy Pendergrass, but he can take your girl wearing high heels because Prince wore high heels. So Prince is a symbol of the divine feminine, clearly, without a shadow of a doubt. But he represents the Shekinah force inside of him. Now, when you understand, what is a prince? A prince is not the king. The prince is the son of the king and queen. He's the son of mommy and daddy. So therefore, the prince, although he is a male in training, The prince is under the tutelage of mommy and daddy because he's not the king. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, he embodies both of their principles. You can see it in his look. You can see it in his style. You can see it in his whole pizzazz. But look at his symbol that he created for himself, known as the love symbol. That's nothing more than Venus and Mars. That's what that is. Venus represents the feminine flow, and Mars represents the masculine flow. Hence, he is the prince. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a cosmic theme. Now, he's using cosmic planetary symbols. So what I'm saying here is the priesthood is here to show you that, wait a minute, for you to really have a divine insight on Prince, you have to at least have cosmic consciousness because he was using cosmic symbols to express himself. Okay? You have to have a cosmic awareness, cosmic insight. And we're just not talking about the basics either. We're talking about divine insight. All right? So let's move on. Prince has an album called Rainbow Children, and it says that this album was talking about his conversion to Jehovah's Witness religion, but he also had Egyptian monotheism and New Age concepts such as the Akashic Record, which is soul's memory, past life memories, and things of that nature. All right? And if you're dealing with the Egyptian science, you already know he's dealing with science. But the Rainbow Children, this is where you're going to have to use your scientific mind, and I want you to get out with your emotion. Don't allow, and this is a fact, if you can Google the triune brain, there's 3 brains. Brain number 2, or the midbrain, is responsible for your emotional response. There's another brain right behind your forehead, portion of your brain right behind your forehead that deals with rational thinking. That brain is the conscious self that knows who you are, your name, and things of that nature. It is your conscious awareness. That is not the same as your emotion. I want you to come into the higher centers of your brain here because you're about to see some things, all right? Now, since he had an album called Rainbow Children, you have to take in consideration the current events that's taking place right now and deal with the LGBT community. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with this because all of this ties into Prince. Because Prince, you can say he looks like he's gay, so you're going to have to tie this in and make it make sense. They use the rainbow flag. He comes with an album called Rainbow Children. You're going to have to deal with this. Okay, and we're going to show you the divinity inside of what Prince was working with. All right, now the oral argument for same-sex marriage in the United States with the Supreme Court was heard on April the 28th, 2015. Prince checked out on April the 21st, just 1 week prior. My point is this is a time loop. Time runs in a spiral. It appears to be in a circle, but 2015 and 2016 are not the same year, although the events in April to 21st and 28th can mirror one another, okay? So the oral arguments was heard in April the 28th, 1 year prior in the ethers, this Akashic Record space, okay? So the oral arguments of this is trapped in a certain region of space called April the 28th, all right? Now, let's go inside of the human body here for a second, because inside of the human body, there's something called the Wolffian duct. In the Wolffian duct in males, it turns into the testicles. It turns into the semivesicles where you can start to produce sperm, all right? This is how you become a man, okay, in a sense. In the female, it tells you that this duct will actually start to regress. And it tells you the Wolffian duct regresses and inclusions may persist. It says that, a woman on the lateral wall of the vagina, she can have something called the Gardner's duct, or cyst could develop as a remnant of the Wolffian or masculine aspect. So in essence, the embryo has this Wolffian duct, and for women, we can go inside of the vagina and we may find a Gardner's duct or cyst that's there that's basically the old memory record of the masculine aspect of herself, which is her daddy. Okay? This is a fact. I'm just giving you facts. But inside of women, there is something called the Mullerian duct. The Mullerian duct goes on to develop as fallopian tubes, the uterus, the womb, things that make you feminine in the sexual organs, okay? And what happens inside of males, this starts to disintegrate, and the remnants of that starts to turn into something called the prostatic utricle. All right? The prostatic utricle was also known as the vagina masculina, which basically means the masculine vagina. So you can go inside of a man and find a duct, right? You can find a duct that was the remnants of his female self, his mother. See, we got to stop playing these games. In this reality, you get here by one way, in one way only. You get here through male and female coming together. That's how you get here. So you are your mama and your daddy. You look just like your daddy, but you act like your mama, right? You got these traits, right, of your parents. So let's stop playing. Now, here's the question that you have to ask yourself, just for the sake of science, right? If this, inside of a male, if the vagina masculina, the feminine duct, is turned off, but it's there, could the intelligence that decided to make you from a sperm to egg, from zygote to embryo to fetus to 76 trillion cells to eyebrows that stop dust from getting in your eyes, from earwax to all of these things that you know good and well, your human mind is not conscious of your own biological design. Something was guiding the design. Google image the nervous system and the veins and arteries and look at the looping process that the body was so smart, this intelligence was so smart that it knew how not to cross the wires and loop them around this way so it can get to various organs, right? If you're not conscious of that process, and you're not, here's the question. That divine intelligence that's inside of you, can you say it cannot turn on that duct since it turned it off? If it got the ability to turn off, mathematically speaking, it should have the ability to turn on because it's there. It is just a question. It is just a question. Inside of the woman, we see the duct where her dad or her masculine self was at. Inside of the man, we see the duct where the feminine and his mother self is at. These are facts in embryogenesis. Now, this means that from 0 to 4 weeks, we see no sexual identification. On the 4th week, or about the 28th day, you see the male aspect coming and developing called the Wolffian duct. Around the 6th week or the 31st day, the Mullerian duct from the female aspect starts to develop. So you live your life as both male and female for a very short period of time before you actually determine which sex you are going to become. This is why you have to wait. And when you're pregnant, you have to wait. You got to wait about on the 45th day. Around that time, you can be able to see what the sex is. And they say boy determination come in at stage 18, which is about 44 days. Girl determination comes in about stage 20, which is about 49 days. So even when the female energy comes in on the 31st day, right, then if you can determine a boy at day 44, then that means for 3 days the embryo was living with the potential of male and female. But it makes sense because you come from your mama and your daddy. Let's stop playing these games. Let's stop playing these games. All right? So now let's look at something. Let's look at the physicality of something in our reality. Let's look at the fact that on June 26, 2015, the ruling of the Supreme Court says gays have a right to marry. Double rainbows appear over the White House. Interesting. You have to ask yourself, how do these people use a flag that represents the color spectrum of reality that we live in, okay, all things visible, and the day that they win their argument, a rainbow appears over the White House? Watch this now, because we're about to get into time loops. June 26th, this happened in 2015. Okay? The Purple Rain album came out on June 25th, 1984, which was just 31 years prior. This is the same guy who Quantum or God knows is going to make rainbow children later. You understand what I'm saying? And he comes with Purple Rain, which is the highest frequency, and then 31 years later, the same-sex rainbow flag is now approved to join together. The rainbow children can now come together. Stop playing. This is how the gods talk in this reality. This is why the wise men knew the stars. And we're not talking about mathematical computations. We're talking about divine understanding. Okay? Now, let's move on because you're going to see something. And this is what separates the priesthood from the rest. And I just have to be honest with you. Back on June 29th, same region of space, June 29th, 2011, we did an actual practice. And what I'm saying is there's theory and philosophy, and there's something called physical practice, which gives you experience, which in return gives you wisdom, which in return gives you realization. This ain't no theory. We purposely did a radio show called This is Sirius 4 Solar Eclipse 913 with the projection of creating a rainbow collectively with our consciousness. Not no heart machine, with our own consciousness as God-fearing, God-loving people. Since we say we believe, then we should be able to call on God to present a sign, to show us a sign like it did in the old school prophecies, as a sign, project the rainbow and see if this rainbow appeared. And lo and behold, guess what? The journalist Paul Moreland caught the rainbow over the National Black Theater in Harlem with the pyramid on top. But if you see on the left, it's Applebee's. Don't bite the apple eve. It goes back to the story of Genesis that deals with the rainbow. And look at the date. It happened on July 13th. When was the radio show? We said it was on June 29th with the title of Solar Eclipse 913. I told you we was purposely working on the number 13. If you count from June 29th to July 13th, you will see 13 whole days had passed, and on the 14th day was the manifestation of the rainbow. Hence 913, we was working with the number 13. 13 whole days had to pass, and the next day was the day of manifestation of our collective consciousness coming into this reality. I'm not theorizing about a rainbow. We had the prophetic God experience about producing a rainbow that is different from you reading it in Scripture and different from you reading in various philosophical texts. All right? We have the experience. Now, the Spirit said, you know what? That was 3-6 Mafia from down south that came out with the album. Look at track number 12. I got them rainbow colors in my cup. When did they release the album? June 24th, 2003. Stop it. So June 24th, 2003, you got rainbow colors. June 29th, 2011, we purposely produced the rainbow. June 25th, 1984, Purple Rain came out, who is the Prince, who is the author of Rainbow Children. And then on June 26, 2015, you had the Rainbow Children were allowed to marry one another. Why is all this rainbow energy stuck in the same realm of space? Why are we a part of it? We are a part of that grand design. It ain't like we put out the Rainbow Prophecy because we knew Prince had an album called that, but he brought out Purple Rain, so we're going to do it on the Purple Rain. We did this before same-sex even got together. You see what I'm saying? So this is the continuum in the quantum dynamic of how light speaks. We keep beating that in your head and telling y'all that. This is how God speaks. All right? So close it out. My man Future, he come out with an album this year in January 17th, called Purple Rain. And then Prince check out almost 90 days later, right? So what did my man Future have to say about this?
Noble, 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 noble. All I'm saying is I'm noble. I'm Noble Anpu, the urban guru, man, right here on Hip Hop Astrology. I show you the prophecies. We have shown you that. We shown you what we have told Rick Ross when he was going to be in some drama, and it happened exactly on the days we told him. We showed you the prophecies that we done gave Google, Microsoft, Bill Gates. We done gave it to Apple. We done gave it to Russell Simmons and Snoop Dogg. We told them about events such as the Charleston church shooting, the day it was going to happen on. We showed you that. We show you the prophecy. We show you the future, man. So like Beyonce said, you niggas corny with that Illuminati mess. It's God over Illuminati over here all day. Visit theimaginationguru.com and get your God conscious on. Peace. Listen, man, y'all see the picture. And this is me emitting the purple flame known as the violet flame. So we dealing with Purple Rain with Prince. We dealing with violet being the highest color in the rainbow or the color spectrum period in our reality. We dealing with Future coming out with Purple Rain. You dealing with Future calling my name. We dealing with the priesthood, myself and Minister Jew, showing you how to predict the future, and then we show you how to create the future, because we purposely created rainbows and other things. A lot of other things that we did. You see what I'm saying? So allow this picture to speak 1,000 words, as they would say. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about theory. We're not talking about philosophy. It's a known fact that the violet flame in the third eye represents spiritual awakening and spiritual consciousness. And you see it right there, man. So holla at us, theimaginationguru.com.
Noble, 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 noble.
Prophecy is what we all have to go by now. It's very interesting.